Well, one bloke who knows John Howard, the former Prime Minister, better than most is Alan Jones, the host of Alan Jones Direct to the People. Good morning, Alan.
Hello, Stephen. Lovely to talk to you.
Anthony Albanese, got nothing like John Howard.
Yes, it's a bit of a difficult choice that the public have got, haven't it? I mean, on this national security issue, basically we have very limited military capability. That's the disturbing thing. I personally am very concerned about the constant attacks on China. Now, everyone knows China's weaknesses. Everyone knows the extent to which we object to many of the things that China are doing. But they're up the road, they're a neighbour, they're very powerful, they're very central to our trade relationships, and we couldn't defend ourselves against a barrow full of marbles. And our military capability has been run down by all governments, and now they're starting to talk about submarines that we'll have in 20 or 30 or 40 years' time. I mean, Albanese, they're out of the picture. As you're right, before Morrison and Turnbull and Abbott became Prime Ministers, Labor had run down our defence budget to a level worse than it was before World War II. And so all of them have got to rethink again. Our military capability is negligible, and we're not in a position to be throwing stones and throwing darts at the neighbours up the road. Someone has got to first resolve the impasse between us and China. Someone's got to be able to pick up the phone to someone up there and say, can we stop all of this nonsense before we become implicated in a brawl we can't resolve and can't defend ourselves against?
I guess the only saving grace is that the current government, and particularly with Peter Dutton as Defence Minister, are starting to take our defence spending a little more seriously. Albanese making the right sort of noises. But again, the problem is the lead times with all of these things. We're 30 years behind the game.
Unbelievable. Quite. Hey, 100% correct. Peter Dutton, of course, has not only raised the profile of defence, he's raised the possibility of the government being re-elected. He's given them a bit of grunt. But I don't like Peter talking about war and really those threatening and belligerent language towards China. I mean, Julie Bishop was the foreign minister. Someone said to her the other day, no one's talking to people in China. She said, well, I am. I'm Chancellor of the ANU, and I need foreign students to keep, particularly Chinese students, to keep the ANU running. I'm talking to people. Now, there must be people in the government, in the diplomatic corps, or in previous governments who can pick up the phone to someone in China and say, can we stop all this arguing and fighting and carrying on? What do we need to do to get back on an even keel?
I guess the problem is we don't have an Alexander Downer anymore, or God forbid I say even a Gareth Evans, somebody that is actually adept when it comes to
Marise Payne's invisible. Marise Payne's invisible, isn't she?
Absolutely.
And the tragedy about Marise Payne is that when she does open her mouth and speak, she's very credible and she can prosecute an argument very satisfactorily. I have never understood why we see and hear less of Marise Payne.
Well, I've said that time and time again.